Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're back in studio.
I don't... Who are you people? Why are you here?
I know. This is crazy. First time in 2022, I think, that we've all three been in studio.
Absolutely.
First time we've been on stream. Mile High Dungeon Delvers has done a couple streams in 2022, but Game Guys hasn't.
I want to say maybe episode 250 was our last one. So,
and I wasn't on that one.
Correct. That was when Wes was there.
Yeah. And then also we are episode 256. So we've officially hit like display resolutions, albeit really, really, really shitty ones.
I mean, there's lower display resolutions than 256.
Yeah, but I never really knew of those.
Yeah, I mean, you might be thinking of color palettes.
That's really actually what I'm thinking of.
Yes. I'm at 256 colors. If you gave each of our episodes one color shade of 256 colors between then and now, you would have all of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's something somebody should do.
Or don't do that.
What if we started NFTing colors?
Oh, God.
We could be at least the 100th to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like our podcast.
There's nothing original that has ever come out of this podcast.
Yeah. What are you talking about? We're a bunch of white guys.
We're three straight white guys. As generic gets.
Yeah.
We cursed. That was our true originality.
We did curse. And we did do, back when we did reviews in the before times, we did the what were our like initial thoughts going into the play, like the review, and a couple of people said they really appreciated that, and nobody else really did that. So,
and then we showed them by not doing them anymore,
and then we promptly quit that shit.
Fools.
Yes.
Turns out trying to do 2 episodes a week for like 2 years. How long did we do
that?
At
least,
3 years.
I want to say 3 years. Yeah.
Recipe for burnout, right there, folks. Recipe for burnout.
Well, reviews are coming back, so it's going to be totally fine. Adrian's just not going to be on them. The problem is.
A long sip.
Yeah.
No, I would like to do reviews. I would like to do them more spaced out, more planned.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of making that happen.
Yes.
And
now that you have a new work schedule.
Yeah.
Weekends free again.
That depends on the week. Because you have a weird divorcee level work schedule.
Yeah.
It really revolves around when Chuck E. Cheese is open.
I can confirm that it is not straight 3-on-3 off, 2-on-2 off repeating ad nauseum. It is a much weirder mix that's harder to, but it repeats better. Like, so I get almost every other weekend off entirely.
Yes.
And like I don't have. It's very rare. There are still some weeks where I will work like my 3 on, and then I'll have 2 off, and then I'll have 2 on. So I'll work 5 days in one calendar week, which, considering I work 12-hour shifts, those are going to be baller weeks for overtime.
Sure.
So
yep,
they're just going to suck for everything else.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, this is a board gaming podcast. You wouldn't know that if you only listen to the first like 10 minutes of each episode.
Well, it's been about 4. So.
Yeah, so this time we're getting into it a little bit earlier. But if you only listen to the first few minutes, we'll say few, you wouldn't know this is a board gaming podcast, but it is. So let's talk about some board games, especially because I think we've all played board games.
Yes,
Game
we
night
have.
Started up again. We took a month off because of the Omicron variant, and we're back at it.
A big old spike, and it's come down some. So
it has. And so we started game nights again. And then I was traveling, and I still managed to play some games. So we got games to talk about. I'll start because I know you guys played a lot of the same games, so I'll let you guys go together and do your stuff after me. So I've played a bunch more Descent. Megan and I had shortly before I left for my Florida trip, Megan and I had a day where we did, I think it was like the Saturday before I left, we did like 3 or 4, like just back to back to back.
I assume you've
missions.
Unlocked both other characters.
that was yeah.
Yeah, we did that like, second or third.
Mm-hmm.
You're well in front of probably any of us that have played.
Most of our characters, I think we have 3 or 4 that have all of their skills. We're still only
skills.
We're only level 3 experience, so we can't use all of them.
I think we are only 2.
We just hit 2.
We just hit 2.
Yeah, so we did finally hit 3, which some of them, if you have 3 skills on them, because you can do like 3 level 1s or like a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
Having 3 of their skills makes some of them redonkulous.
That's good.
I mean, what difficulty are you playing on?
Normal,
Okay.
whatever the
we
default
stepped ours up 1, so ours is a smidge harder.
We might step ours up because we have
Was
lately
it seasoned? What was that? Was the name of the difficulty or something?
I'm going to say yes so that we can just keep on keeping on.
Correct.
We got some trinkets. We got one trinket that the base version of it is whoever has it, they get like your first attack against an enemy adds 1 to 7 damage.
1 to 7.
It's a
2. Wow. Okay.
wildly swingy. Then we upgraded it to the plus version. The plus version is everyone. If it's the first time any given enemy is attacked by anyone, it's like 2 to 9.
Jeez.
Every time an enemy is first hit?
Yes. The first time you attack them.
That's fucked. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, and then there's another one that we got that's like Shadow Bracers or something that we have upgraded as well.
I believe
that
Zach has those?
The first
Maybe.
They sound familiar.
The first 4 attacks you make in a game add 10 damage.
I don't have that.
No.
So
I was incorrect.
Yeah.
So like there have been missions where we roll into an area and like the first person to go uses all 3 of their actions to attack and just obliterates like 3 or 4 people.
Totally.
Like just dead, gone, boom, cool.
Poof.
All right, well that was fun. That first battle really strained our resources there. So we've been rolling pretty hard on beating things.
I was going to say Molly, but
I mean,
that's the only way we play, man.
Yeah.
That 3 terrain looks
Yes,
real,
it does.
man.
just rubbing the mat.
Jeffrey?
Yeah.
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 The wall, Jeffrey.
Uh-huh.
Is that's from something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to a point where like it definitely seemed like it was ending, and it was like we were like, man, I don't feel like we've played enough sessions. We haven't gotten to do enough. Like, this is disappointing that it's ending. And then it really just narrowed, and then it was like spread back out again. It was like,
Gotcha.
oh, okay, lots of things still going on. So, looking forward to playing more of it. Still really, really enjoy that. They continue to do awesome things with the terrain. There was a mission where it has a mechanic of swinging blades.
That's cool.
Where like you have to like get through, you have to time your movement zigzagging through a hallway to avoid the swinging blades, and it works. It's a little tedious, but it works, and it was cool. I hope they don't do it much more because, like I said, it was tedious. But for one time thing, it was like, holy fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So they continue to do cool and interesting things with the terrain and how you can interact with it that I really, really like. And the story's really pretty good. I've been really enjoying that. So lots more Descent. I'm sure lots more Descent to come. I think we are at a point where we have 4 missions to choose from. So we've got at least 4 more missions to do.
I think we're going to be starting that up again sometime soon, but we got like Jime tomorrow.
Yep.
And then like Paul's going to be super busy for the next week playing other games. So it'd have to probably be the week after that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a 8-player TI4 game around the corner.
Yeah. I'm not participating.
Nor am I.
You are though, right, Zach?
Yeah, for now.
Yes.
Anyway, back to what I've been playing. We'll talk about future games in the future. So then I went to Florida on the business trip because I'm a businessman.
Doing business things?
Little Tom Hardy reference.
Yeah.
And so while I was there, I played 3 games. I played my first ever game on Board Game Arena, which I also did not realize, like, I don't know what I thought BGA was, but I didn't realize it was Board Game Arena. But it is. So I played my first ever game on BGA. It was Feast for Odin. It's new, one of their premium games that they just got. I played with...
Base one, right?
Just base.
Because I don't think the expansion is implemented yet.
Do they do expansions on Board Game Arena? Because I tried looking through it some stuff and I couldn't find
I
anything.
think some of them they
Okay.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
But played with Kaiser and I want to say Matt in Ohio.
That sounds right.
But 3 of us played. I didn't realize when I signed up for this that they had neither one ever played Feast for Odin. I thought they just hadn't played it on BGA.
Oh, that's how you fucked Matt from Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I fucked him real good. Well, let him fuck himself. I just didn't stop him as he really fucked himself. So I taught Andrew.
Standard.
He had to put his kids to bed. I almost said to sleep, but then that might have had a different connotation.
Andrew?
Matt.
So
while Matt was putting his kids to bed.
You said Andrew to make it sound like Andrew was putting his children to sleep that he does not have.
No, Andrew does not have children.
Not anymore, he doesn't.
So why you put him to sleep?
How rude.
So while Matt was putting his children to sleep, I taught Andrew is how I really meant to phrase that. Or I taught Andrew while Matt put his children to sleep. Or something.
She's like, just one chokehold at a time.
Yeah. It's the only way you can do it sometimes.
You got to embrace it. Embrace sweet death.
Embrace a group.
Yep.
So I taught him the base rules and covered the, you want to cover income from the bottom left up, and that you want to surround the other resources so that you earn them. And then Matt
saw the amazing screenshot.
And so Matt joined in the game. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I watched a video. I think I understand. You can just continue to teach from kind of where you are." And so I did a little bit more of a teach. Then we started playing, and we did we get through the first turn, all the way towards the end when you have a chance to place your things before you do income.
Question: When I haven't seen how the game played, do you have a good idea of what other people are doing in that?
No.
Okay. All right.
Not. So the problem is you can't until somebody locks in their choice. Lock it in. Until they've locked it in, you can't see it on their board.
Okay, but you can see their board.
You can see their boards. You can click over and see their boards and keep tabs of what they're doing. So I locked my board in, and then they were still doing theirs. And so I clicked over and I saw Andrew's locked in. I was like, okay, I see where Andrew's at, looking good. And I clicked over to Matt's, and it wasn't locked in, and then it locked in, and it went, oh no, Matt. That's not how that works. He had surrounded each of the income markers and covered up the bonus resource markers for his first turn.
So you're saying he's a flip-flopper.
He's a flip-flopper. And if it weren't for the fact that first round took almost an hour, it was a long first round of navigating the new system, BGA, their implementation of it, plus them being first-time players and just trying to figure things out.
I feel like just being all right, we'll start again, but knowing what you know now, you have a better idea. I feel like that first round would not have taken another hour.
It probably wouldn't have, but
it probably would have taken 10, 15 minutes.
It didn't matter. We were full steam ahead.
Sucks to suck, I guess.
Yeah. You know what? And it proved to be a reasonable handicap. He still got second, and it was a close second.
So it's asterisks is what I'm hearing. You misled him, and because of that, you were able to win.
I did not mislead him. He made a critical error. I have made critical errors in games and not gotten a redo. Sometimes that's just how you learn. He's never going to make that mistake again.
Did you ever just take the far right resource on any of the resource tracks, thinking that's what you could do?
No, you just take whichever resource you want. That's how piles work. Is you can just grab it from anywhere.
Yes, I remember that from one of our plays.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to take the 2 money. Oh, I'm just going to take the irons. It was like, but you have to take all of the left things first, right?
Here's the thing, though, is that I don't want it, so I'm just not going to do it.
It's like there's an arrow at the left side of each one of those tracks that tells you need to go this way.
No, it's telling you, look what's available for you to grab.
Look at this entire row of things that you could possibly take from.
Yep.
It's like a market stall. You just walk,
Yeah.
You don't. It's when you go to the grocery store, you don't start at the end of the aisle and have to buy everything in the aisle to get to the stuff in the middle.
Well, Feast for Odin is not a grocery store. You may think it is, because there is
enough
a lot
options.
of resources.
Yeah. Ended up being a really good game. I finished. I settled Greenland. Completely filled Greenland. Matt got. I can't remember, Iceland maybe. Completely filled it. Andrew didn't get any additional lands, which is probably why he got last. But I was still really impressed. And even Andrew did have some other side. Pardon me. Had some other sideboards and stuff. And I feel like for being first time players, that's really impressive. Because I remember my first time playing for sure. I think it was all 3 of us had similar feelings when we talked about it. Was I didn't even fill up my main board. Like, how the shit do you do a sideboard?
Yeah.
And that was not a problem for us. I went very heavy on a raiding.
Always love the raiding and pillaging. Pillaging really is.
Matt got to have unfettered access to whaling for like 9/10 of the game, which is how he was able to claw back from his disaster.
Yeah,
that'll do it.
Whaling is very lucrative as well.
Whaling
on the moon. Which, speaking of, is coming back for a 4th time.
Yes. The 4th renewal of Futurama.
Yeah. So I did end up winning, which was nice. I really like the implementation. I will probably, I'm strongly considering getting a BGA premium, because I was really impressed with their overall.
It's only like $5 a month or something, right?
Yeah. It's pretty affordable.
Yeah. When you said you made a BGA account, I assumed that's what you meant.
No,
by premium.
I just
so that's why I was like, let's look at all these games. That's why I didn't end up choosing one. I was like, oh, he probably didn't mean that, and I was like, I don't want to play any games that aren't premium. Ugh.
Well, if you had wanted to, I would have just signed up on the spot.
Gotcha.
Sure. Anyway, this is going on a bit, and I still have 2 more games. So that was Feast for Odin on BGA.
Moving along.
Then I got to meet up with a fan, listener of the show, some might say, named David down there in Orlando. He had gotten a hold of me on Twitter, and was just basically like, he had heard the episode where I was like, hey, I'm going to Florida. He's like, hey, I live in Orlando. If you want to hang out, let me know. And so turns out he actually lived pretty close to where I was staying. And he even recommended, like, I got a hold of him on Monday. I was like, hey, what day are you free? Do you want to do this? And he was like, Thursday we can meet at such and such brewery. And it was the brewery I was at on Monday. I was like, I know the brewery already. I'm here and the beer's good. So yes, this will work great.
So what you're saying is this was Adrian's only fan in Orlando?
His Florida fan.
His Adrian's only fan meetup in Orlando.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Dave from Orlando.
Yeah.
Awkward.
I think all of those words were accurate.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah.
So we just hung out for the first little bit, just kind of shot the shit.
Make sure he wasn't
cool.
weird.
Yeah, cool guy.
Make sure you weren't weird.
You want to make sure he is a man from Florida, not a Florida man.
Exactly. Which he's originally from South Carolina, so he's not a Florida man.
Close enough.
Yeah. Shockingly sane and stable human being South Carolinian who moved to Florida. But so he busted out. He was like, hey, I brought some games. Let's play. And I was like, all right, cool. What are we gonna dive into? And he had Ragnarocks that he had kind of custom made a small version of.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulled the board off of some files online, printed it on like a normal standard like mouse pad size square, and then just got some other little tokens to play with. And so he taught me Ragnarocks. Ragnarocks, for those aren't familiar, it's very similar to Santorini. I think same designer, maybe.
The spiritual sequel.
Spiritual sequel
is marketed it.
It's from Gray Fox Games. It was one they were just starting to kind of push. I think we covered it on Kickstarter shortly before our sponsorship.
I mean, how many of those Kickstarters did we cover that
bunch.
may or may not have delivered yet?
Yeah. So we had talked about it, so I was familiar with the idea. But basically, you have 3 Vikings each. And on your turn, you move a Viking as far as you want in any or like orthogonal line. There are hexes, so you have multiple like orthogonal sides. I don't know if that's still orthogonal adjacent, but not not where you're diagonals.
You can move your dude in a line as far as you want.
Yeah, and then you place them, and then you place a single boulder. Same thing anywhere in a line from their new spot. And the goal is to try and block every Viking into their own space. And then whoever has the most spaces with their Vikings in them, like all of the spaces that are enclosed, whoever has the most wins.
So you're not building up at all?
No.
Okay.
So this one you're not building up. You're segregating the board into like little discrete chunks. So like ideally you want to capture each of your opponent's Vikings like completely surrounded. Which I did to him once, which felt great. And then ideally you want yours to be in very large, spacious things.
So it's more of a I move, I cut, type thing. So
we played the first game just straight, no powers, and I ended up winning, which was nice. That one was a fairly close game.
Was it nice?
Winning is always nice. Then we played with powers. So just like Santorini, there's a bunch of god powers. They're all based vaguely on Norse mythology, and they all have ridiculously game-breaking bullshit.
As they should, yeah.
As they should. He had culled a lot of the super bullshit ones, and then was playing with ones, and they were like pretty clearly from like Kickstarter files. Like some of them were like art coming soon. I played. I don't remember what the specific gods were, but I do remember the power. So my power was that it wasn't so much that I had a power as it was a negative for my opponent. You could not move the same Viking twice in a row. You always had to switch Vikings if possible. Once a Viking is like isolated, that Viking's just done, unless you have a special power that lets that Viking still do shit. His ability was after he moved, he could swap places with an adjacent Viking. So like he could swap, like if I was almost getting him cornered, he could swap me into the small spot and then close it right behind me. Like, haha. Turns out my power limiting him to not being able to touch the same guy twice in a row was way more limiting. And so I was able to very handily win our second game. There was a brief moment where like I thought he was gonna like there's a narrow passageway through like the center of the board. I thought he was gonna make a break for it to like the bigger area I had locked down, but he didn't. He was like, okay, I'm just gonna give that side up and like lock that down and then try and save this over here, and it didn't work. That was the game also where I got one of his guys like perfectly surrounded, which feels good.
A real critical error.
So I was Ragnarocks. I really liked it. He said him and his wife played a lot, especially with that little smaller custom version that he has. It does have like some very solid like Go style like thinking and strategy, I feel like, behind it that I really appreciated. And I would definitely like to play again sometime. After that, we played a single game of Air, Land, and Sea. We specifically played the Critters of War version, which is a newer version released in 21. It is just a re-implementation. I don't think there's really any difference in the cards, the rules. It's just the theme is more Woodland Critter Christmas than actual World War II theme. But basic concept there is there's a big deck of cards. You shuffle them up. Each player gets 6 cards, and then there's 3 theaters: land, sea, and air. And on your turn, you play 1 card from your hand. Face up, you play it to a matching theater. Like each card has a theater, and then their strength 6 to 1, with 6 being the higher and 1 being the lower. Everything 5 and lower has a power, and the 6s they're just really strong, so they don't have any powers. You're trying to win 2 of the 3 theaters. And when you play, you can, like I said, play face up to a matching theater, or you can play face down and your card is just worth a flat 2 strength, but you don't get to activate the power unless the card flips. Some powers are instantaneous, some are ongoing, yada, 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 yada. He described it as a game of strategic withdrawal, which it definitely is, because the way the scoring works in it is at any point in time you can withdraw. You can be like, nope, I give up. The more cards you still have in your hand, the fewer points your opponent gets. So if you play all the way down to like the last cards, then like your opponent can get like 6 points and you play to 15. Whereas like if you withdraw after like your first card, they only get 1 point. So it's about like realizing when you need to just cut your losses and piece the fuck out. I jumped out to an early lead, had 2 pretty big wins, was feeling pretty good. Then he came back, tied it up, and then we ended up tied at 11. And then we went 14-14, and so then it was like literally next point wins, so the final hand, and then he ended up winning pretty handily there. But it was really good. I liked the like tactical decisions of when to play a card like face down, and like some of the powers, like one of them is your face down cards are now worth 4 points, which is bonkers. And other cards let you like flip and unflip and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's the basics of it. I did end up losing that one, so I was not undefeated in my games over the course of this week. Hi, Jester. But yeah, it was still a lot of fun. It was nice, always nice meeting a new fan of the show,
a new only Florida fan.
Yes, classic. Go to Orlando and meet a friend.
Yep,
only one friend.
Hanging out with a friend.
Oh, hey. Oh shit.
So apparently you only played a 12 and not 15, so Adrian actually did win.
So what we're saying is Adrian won. As Adrian went to Florida and crushed someone at all of the games they were playing.
Well, and I crushed my friends here and in Ohio too.
Yeah.
Online. I won everything.
We need to knock you down a couple notches.
Yeah. You really should join that that TI4 game.
No, it's fine because I have an upcoming Indonesia game scheduled this Thursday with Paul and them. And since I won the last game of Indonesia, I guarantee I'm going to get real fucked. Yeah. Nobody's going to let me ship anything. Nobody's going to let me own a single ship. It's going to be rough, but it'll be fine.
Yep.
Just swim with your goods like tied to your back or something across.
Yeah, that's totally a mechanic
Uh-huh.
in Indonesia.
Well, if you don't got any boats, how else are you supposed
Look,
to do it?
now that you won one, now this is when you play it bold. You play it, you go, I'm only going for shipping, and that's how I'm going to win. Play it
I mean, I've proven that you can do that.
by only shipping.
I only
Never,
shipped.
you didn't own a single company.
Not other than shipping.
Okay.
I don't
Good-
think. No, I
good
think I did. That's not true. I
Yeah.
did own a bunch of oil.
Yeah.
The oil was my real moneymaker late game.
Weird. The highest value commodity you could use, also with you owning all the shipping. Oh, what could have possibly given you the win in that
Yeah.
game?
My superior play.
That's
Clearly,
definitely what
yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Also, maybe the mid-game bitching about how I was definitely going to lose after a bad ship merger round.
That sounds like Adrian.
Yeah, that's right. There we are. Okay.
Right on. So that's what I played. How about you guys? How did your week of gaming back here in Denver go?
It went well. After I had bought all of that Quacks of Quedlinberg stuff, I messaged our friend V before game night on Wednesday, and I was like, I paid way too much for all this stuff. I want to play this game.
You didn't pay too much. You just paid
A lot.
You just
I paid
spent
it
a lot of
money. Yes,
That
I
is
paid-
how much it cost.
That is true. Yes. Which I think it was almost $200 for the game, both expansions, which was like $75, and then $120 for all of the upgrade pieces.
Geek up bits
Yes.
from BGG.
Exactly. So it was V, Leander, and I. We were getting ready to play, and then we had. I'm bad with names. I forget his name, but he was.
Rude.
I know. I'm a horrible person, so it's fine.
At least you own it.
Yeah. There's a guy. He was walking around, and he was like, "Hey, do you want do you have room?" Or basically, it was he and somebody else were looking to play a game, and the game can play 5. And so we were like, "Yeah, sure, come on in." And we were playing basically vanilla. We weren't playing with the expansions yet. It was just I haven't played it in a long time, so let me get used to this again before. And Leander hadn't played, or if he had, it had been a long time. Another person hadn't played, and so I was like, "We'll just do vanilla just to see how it goes."
Okay.
Game's still a lot of fun. I exploded 7 out of the 9 rounds, I think.
Yeah, all
Holy
right.
shit.
Well, it did. It was nice that 2 of my rounds, the blue, what a ingredient. It had its thing where if you explode within a certain amount of the blue chip, you actually get the points, and
Okay.
so
Okay.
it basically gives you a free explosion, right? Lets you
Explode without having to choose.
yeah,
either
you don't
or.
get the bonus die, but you still get everything else.
Yeah.
And so that helped some, but I still tied for last in that game.
Okay. Not great. Not
Yeah,
great.
no, it was the amount of times my bag was full of the not cherry bombs, and my stupid fucking board was just like 3 cherry bomb, 1, 2. And then it's like, okay, now you can actually start drawing stuff. And I'm like, you motherfucker. So
Yeah.
but it's still a fun game. And now that I've played it again, I want to try the expansion stuff.
Spend another $200 on it.
No,
There's no more.
No more for
He
right
has
now.
it all.
I've got it
So
all?
There's nothing else to
Yeah.
buy.
I'm gonna buy it again.
No, you can't, because I remember somebody had asked me about it. I'm like, where did you get this? And I went, oh, it was
Was
It
it
was
the big
over.
box or the mega box?
the mega box. I was like, oh, just go to this website. And then I went to the website, and it's not there anymore.
No, that was me when we were talking
Yeah.
last time we recorded because we were
Yeah.
looking it up.
Yes,
Because I
we're-
sent you like, oh, the big box is right here, and you were
Yeah.
like, no, sir.
No, it's the mega
Mega
one.
box.
It's this one. Oh, wait. That's
Even
gone.
when Zach was talking about it, I was like, Mega Box, Big Box. There's
Yes.
two different ones because
Yeah.
one comes with the first expansion, the other one comes with both expansions.
Yeah.
And then the box is trash because it sucks or something.
It's just super big.
It's like way bigger than you would ever need.
Because I was able to fit the Tavern's base game and the expansion in the expansion box of Taverns, which is smaller than the base game of Taverns, that I had an empty box of Taverns, and I was like, I'll just put all of my Quack stuff in here, and now it all fits.
So now you own Quacks of Quedlinberg in a Taverns of Tiefenthal
That is correct.
box.
So someone's going to be like, oh, yeah, we'll play. Somebody game night's going to be like, oh, yeah, it'd be great to play Taverns. They're going to open up and they're going to be very confused.
V was very confused when I put it out, and she's just like, you want to play Quacks? I'm like, yeah, here it is. And she's like, well, no, I want to play Quack. I'm like, yeah, it's right here. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah. Clearly the problem is with you, not with me.
Yeah. Next game I played Love Letter. Love Letter came out with a bunch of different editions, one of which is a 6-player one that's like, I want to say it's called like Double Princess, but I don't know if that's what it's called. Anyway, played it with 6 people, and it actually...
Google it. You'll
find it.
Yeah.
It's fine. And it actually works with 6 people. So they added 2 new cards. So they added a Tsuro, which is a spy. That is, if you are the only person that has a spy in the round, and you have played it or discarded it in the round, then at the end of the round, you get a favor.
Okay.
And then there's also, if both the princesses are no longer the highest card, they are now number 6. And
Instead of 8?
Instead of 8, yeah. So the princess went from one card to 2 cards, and it went to 6. The king is now a 7. It was a unicorn, was an 8. I forget what it was in the other one, and number 9 is an ogre, and that's the highest card now. But the princesses, if you play both of them, if you and another person have played both of them, and you're both in the round, I don't know if that one requires you both to be in the round, but they both have to be played or discarded, then you get a favor. So it gives you ways to get favors with 6 people.
Untraditional.
Yes, untraditional, but also it means that it's not just one person getting favor around, because then that would take 13 rounds of play before someone, so it definitely shortens it there. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Good.
Yeah. And it worked well with 6 people, because I remember regular Love Letter is 4, and then I played it once with 5, and it did not work at all. So I'm glad that they were able to successfully increase the size.
Okay.
Last thing I played on there was New York Zoo. This was a capstone game by Uwe. Is that Uwe? Uwe Rosenberg?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some version of that.
Some version of that's fine.
I had played a solo.
Mr. Rosenberg, how about that?
I had played a solo version of that on Tabletopia many months ago.
Yeah. It is reminiscent for me of Baron Park, in that you're taking tiles and you're filling an area for points.
Yeah.
This one, you either take a tile and you put it on your board, or you're getting animal meeples and you're putting them on your board. And then when they cross certain spots, they breed. And if it's like the wolves breed and you have 2 wolves, you can then have something else on your board breed. But the animals go onto the polyomino pieces that you've put on your board, and then once they fill an entire area, you take them off and you get a special tile that are varying amounts of sizes, and you put it on your board, because the point of the game is to fill your entire board.
And you want the special tiles to fill more better.
Exactly. This one definitely has a disadvantage for going first, because sure, you get to choose like some of these tiles first, and they're good tiles, but the houses that everybody starts with, if you're first player, there's only like 2 houses, and then there's like 3, and then like 4 and 4, depending on how many people you're playing. But those houses are where animals can stay that are not actively on your board.
Okay.
So, and you have to have animals to put on your board in order to put a new tile out. So that means that you have to have an excess of animals that you then grab a tile, and then you can put animals on there. I only found out about halfway through the game that you can actually take, so say you have a tile that has like 5 meerkats on it. You can take 2 of those meerkats when you bring in a tile and then move it to that tile, so you can actually use those to spread. 3 of us didn't really realize that for half the game, that it was just like, so I felt like really tight as the first player, because it was like, well, I have to get a person here, I have to get a person here, and then I have to get a tile here, a tile. Like, it was really, it really opened up the board once I was able to do that. And then I ended up winning because people were expanding their board a lot quicker. And it was funny, like V gave this thing of like, you don't have to have everything touch. Like, if you don't want to, you can have them in different spaces. And I'm like, I know how polyomino games work. If it's not going to fit now, it's going to be it's going to be fucking hard to have it all fit later. Because in the end of all the special pieces, I think I only got one that wasn't a 1x1 square, just to fill in little spots.
Oh shit.
So, but I enjoyed it, but I think I want to replay Barren Park to see if I like it better.
Okay.
But I'm also hesitant to say that I like it because it's a capstone game, and I don't want to say that I like a capstone game. So
yeah, that's risky there.
yeah.
What next thing you know, you'll be wanting to play like Irish Gauge or something. Like once you start down that path.
Yeah, or heaven forbid, fucking the Estates. Ugh, no, thank you.
I still don't understand how you don't like
Watergate.
Estates.
I just haven't played Watergate.
Yeah,
so
Watergate's great.
it's Watergate. All right. Then we met Jeff, me, Jeff, V, and then eventually Mike Jones met up for another game night on Saturday. And while we were waiting for Mike Jones, we ended up playing Cartographers. And it went as much as well as you think Cartographers would go.
Okay.
It was the island one, which I have found to be the hardest one so far. I haven't played
For sure.
I haven't played the
Underground, above ground, underground.
Yeah, but it's still going cartographer style. It's a lot of fun.
I had like a 3 or 4 point round, like back to back.
Did not go well for him or V. V had one real good round where you scored like 6, I scored 10, and she scored like 24. But then she did not plan. She was not able to plan for some of the future scorings. And I was like, and I got 44, I think, on my last.
Yeah, I think it was like 36 or something like that.
Yeah. So, but that's still fun. Then Mike Jones got here and we brought out Bling Bling Gemstone, which is like a Click Clack Lumberjack.
Oh, okay.
But with a stone pillar.
No, it is literally.
I mean, it's literally. It's literally that, but with a gem. Instead of bark, it's gems, and instead of a trunk, it is a stone pillar.
And instead of an axe, it is a pickaxe.
Double-sided pickaxe, which
one's a pointy side, one's kind of like a flatter side.
Yeah.
So when you say literally the same, like is it like the pieces are the same style?
Yes.
They are indeed, yes, but they are clear, like pink, white, and red.
Okay, so it's like a central stone pillar with like, instead of gemstones, it's like gem strips.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is literally that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In every way, shape, and form.
Yep.
But clear pieces and a pickaxe instead.
And so we brought it out, and then we're like V had never played that one or the previous ones. And I was like, all right, V, go ahead and give it a shot. First hit, just a little dink, and I was like, okay. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more force. Pa!
Just
2/3 of it and
gone
off into fell off the table, gone
into the distance. May as well taken a baseball bat to the fucking pillar.
as is tradition.
Yes, yeah.
At one point, we just started setting up barriers around the table with various boxes.
It took a lot longer for us to think of that than I feel proud of.
Yeah. Because basically, I mean,
after the 4th or 5th time, I was like, we should just put stuff here
we
now.
need some safety nets.
Yeah.
And they worked great.
They did.
After we did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were really proud when V got 2 rounds without knocking the entire thing.
Yes.
over.
Yeah.
We should do Click Clack or
Definitely.
or gemstones as a stream.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we get like the top, so you could really see it like start to get.
Yeah.
Well, and it also worked really well for V too, because she was sitting to my left, so she always got to go after I would hit on there, and it was always
It's always a recipe for success.
Yes. Yeah. It was always just
because he would make it as nightmarish as possible for her.
Look, if I learned anything from Suspend is if you make it real bad, it will have resolved itself before it gets back to you.
Yeah. And she did not understand to just make it better before trying for something else.
No, what is she didn't take the coward's way out.
Yeah. No, she did not. No.
Yep. And then after that, we played Crokinole. We played 2-on-2.
Yep.
We had 3 different games.
Okay.
3 people got 2 and 1, and we swapped partners, and then one person each round.
Yep. So we each played with everybody partner.
Yes. To really just sort of feel how everybody was doing, and 3 people had 2 wins and 1 loss, and 1 person had 0 wins and 3 losses. So
unfortunate.
Uh-huh.
It was a science experiment, I think is what we said.
Yeah.
And we got all the data that we needed.
Yes.
If I had come, I feel confident that I would have went 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm. Although I'll tell you, Mike Jones, he had an impressive streak of just missing
the hottest and coldest of hot cold possible.
Really what it was is if there were literally no pieces on the board, he was fine. He would just right into the hole. Sinker. But then as soon as another piece came out, it just threw him off.
Yeah. It's real bleary after that. Yeah. Got too excited.
Yep.
He just didn't correctly calculate the microgravity of the other pieces.
Yes.
And their...
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. And also, it was also nice that we were watching curling, or curling was on while this was going on.
On the TVs,
yeah.
yes.
And that someone asked us about it, and I was just like, oh, it's sort of the tabletop, table tennis version of curling. So,
sure.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
It's good answers anyway.
Yeah.
Your roommate went curling recently.
Yes.
I saw photos on Facebook.
That was the only way I even knew it happened. So, yeah. Yep.
Jeff, what about you? Or are you? Is
I'm
that
done.
all you played, Zach? I did remember one other game that I played, but I'm going to talk about it at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going to be a nice little fast transition into banter. But Jeff, go ahead.
The only other game that I played that hasn't already been talked about was Nidavellir, which is a set collection drafting auction-y type game. So it's dwarves, and then there's 5 different colors. All 5 of those different colors are scored differently. There's like purple, that like the more purples you have, the more the score goes up. There's green, the more greens you have, the more the score goes up, but at a different like multiplier than the purples. There's orange, that is like a super low number, and each of the let's call them flags. Each has a different number on it. You score based on what that number is, and then you also get whatever that multiplier is. And then there's orange, which is very low numbers, but multiplies by as many as you have of itself. And then there is red, that you get points for what is on there that are generally higher, but that's all you get. And then there is blue, which is, I think, just straight up numbers as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of like there's varying like complicated amounts of numbers. But the way you bid on each of these is there will be a row of 3, and then you have like a 0, a 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then there's 3 cards in each level when we were playing as 3 players. And then you bid on each tier with your coins. But you also have a 0 because you have 5 coins. If you play the 0, you have 2 coins you can combine at the bottom. When you play your 0, you won't win anything depending on a tiebreaker, but you can discard in your combination at the bottom. If you discard the higher number, you get to add them together. So if you put the 5 and the 2 down there, that's a 7. You discard the 5 and you take the 7.
Okay.
So that's how you increase your auction ability. You get higher numbers. It has a very cool like built, I don't know, shelf for all of the number combinations up to 25, because you can combine other numbers to make. So basically there's everything between 6 and 25 on that shelf. And then it's like there's less and less of them as you go higher. And the game is about just getting the most points. It's split into a varying amount of rounds, and then there's 2 halves. So at the end of the first half, you have like a little scoring break, and whoever has the most of each one of those 5 colors gets like a special card. So I had the most reds, so at the end of the game, I will be able to score my highest coin twice. So I ended up with getting the highest coin, which was 25, so I could score it during the flag phase, which was that card, and also at the end of the game when you just score the coins anyways. So I got 50 points out of that instead of 25 points.
That's pretty great.
That's pretty great. Of course, the lowest score in our game was like 397, just, kind of giving you a scale of what the scores are in this game.
Sure.
But for every set you collect of the 5 different colors, there are a bunch of like hero dwarf cards. So, and they're kind of like everything you could imagine in a set collection kind of game. So there's 2 cards for every color that are just like, here's something weird that does something with that color. Mm-hmm. So that's 10 of the set cards. And then there's 1 set that is like a bunch of like siblings. And the more of those siblings you collect, the more the multiplier is for that. There's another set that's like whenever you do that, play the 0 and get a combo, you get +2 to whatever that combo is. There's another one where whenever you play the 0 and do the combo, you don't have to discard your highest number of that. You discard your lowest number of that. And you just play coins and draft until you get a bunch of points, and then you score up the points at the end. Nidavellir, a dwarf collection game.
Yeah, Matt described it in the chat here as its theme is basically dwarf trafficking.
Yes, absolutely. I liked the tiebreaker system in it. Everyone has this like huge, giant, like crystal gemstone at the top of their very well designed like player board, because your player board, you like everything kind of slots in really well for where your coins go from when you're bidding and stuff. And whenever you tie, you win the tie, but you trade with whoever you trade yours with whoever you tied with. So now they have they have the highest number for the next tiebreaker.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're always kind of trading that tiebreaker around depending on who, got what.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a neat tiebreaker system.
Right on.
Yeah. And it was just a lot of adding up all of the weird rules that you had to calculate all of these things with. So someone was going hard purple, and that's kind of like just a multiplier of like the more purples you have, the more points you get. And we didn't notice the other guy was going hard orange, so he had like, it was very low numbers because the numbers on the flags are like 0, 1, 2 at like most. But he ended up with like 8 of them, so it was whatever that number was times 8, and so it was like 397 to 402, which I got second place, to like 500 and fuck all. Like,
oh goddamn,
yeah, he got like at least 25% more points than any of us just based off that orange alone. So, but yeah, it was super close, and then it was super not close to the first player. Nidavellir.
Neat.
Yeah. It's the if you remember from Infinity War, the sun in the middle of that ring icy thing, that is Nidavellir. That the forge was called Nidavellir. I think this is more of a fantasy setting. It's about a bunch of dwarves trying to like fight or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's about getting points in ways to make multipliers to get the most points.
Sure.
That is the game.
Right on.
But the components are nice, and the art is fun.
According to chat, it's about dwarf trafficking.
Yes. So. Adrian had mentioned that.
Oh, I was not
like
listening. So
like 5 to 10 minutes.
Then I will.
Yeah.
Glaze back out.
Yeah. Well, and no one will ever hear of this
unless you're watching live.
Yeah.
I bet if I turned on the what's it called when the background, you cut out the background.
Green screen.
Yeah, but there's a different word for it, color masking or whatever.
Rotoscoping.
Like for looking at your image right now, like most of you would vanish.
Yes.
You'd become 2 arms and a head.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cropping?
Nah, it's still not the right term. At least not, it's not what they call it here. Keying. Yes, keying.
We'll just key out Zach.
Yeah. Anyhow.
And that's the only thing I played that wasn't already talked about. Pretty sure.
Right on. I remembered one thing in the middle of this conversation that I played that I did want to talk about because I'm weirdly proud of it. Because it goes hand in hand with me like continuing to win everything. So I think it was like Thursday. We were sitting in class, and it was a shit show. Like I'll talk more about it in banter. What a shit show this class was. But they were at one point like, well, we don't really know what you're supposed to be doing, so like have an hour and a half lunch. But also like you're in the middle of nowhere outside of Orlando, like nothing's fucking close for lunch. So we got you Domino's, and you can sit here for an hour and a half and like munch on Domino's. So we're sitting in there just like largely bullshitting. And one of the guys who was sitting next to me, he leans over. He's like, "Hey, do you play chess?" And I was like, "I mean, I know like I know what the pieces do. Like I know how to play chess. I don't remember the last time I played with another human being." He's like, "Well, I've been playing a little bit like online on this app, like against the AI." He's like, "Do you want to play chess with me?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play chess with you." So we played one game, and I won relatively quickly. I don't know how fast it was. And then he was like, "Okay, wow, okay, like you know how to play chess, okay, all right. Well, do you want to play again?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so we swapped sides, and I decided to go for like I've always vaguely heard of it. I know vaguely how to do the 4-turn checkmate.
I thought you were gonna do the two move checkmate.
I didn't know there was a 2-move checkmate.
It's very, very fucking specific. You have to do, and the person
other person has to know that you can't do that to be able to fuck up so bad that happens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so it wasn't quite that egregious. It was 4-move though, but I 4-move checkmated him to the point where like I did the 4th move, got checkmate, and then like he went to take his turn. And he's like, "Wait, you won? How did you win?" And then like I talked him through it for a bit, and then we played again. And on that one, I like intentionally like kind of sloughed off a couple turns to like let the game get in a weird state, and then it ended up like almost getting away from me. I made a couple like critical errors, like lost my queen, like out of nowhere. I was like, "Fuck," but I still won all 3. And so now like the whole class there, like everybody ended up by the end of that hour and a half, everybody had signed up for like chess.com accounts, and like now we're all playing chess with each other.
No, all right then.
So, yeah, I guess I play chess again now. It's been a very long time. Gonna take a quick break.
Yeah, we'll just banter.
Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna move on to banter without Jeff for a little bit here.
He'll come back. It's fine.
Anyway, moving on. I guess since he's gone, I'll talk about how bullshit this whole experience was. So, first of all, I mean, it was training in Florida, so nobody wants to go to Florida. The weather kind of sucked. Like it wasn't even nice. It was kind of like drizzly and cool. But the training like was so incredibly disorganized. Like we didn't have an instructor the first day, who was supposed to be there, and he just like wasn't there. So they were like scrambling, and they're like, "Okay, well, he was supposed to teach you like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday." They're like, and then we were going to do other practical stuff on Thursday and Friday. So I guess we'll do Thursday stuff today, and then we'll like do his training, and then we'll come back to it like Friday at the end of the week and hope you remember any of the shit we're going to teach you. And then like one of the days, like then on Tuesday he got there and he didn't show up until like 9, and we were all like ready at 8. And he's like, "Oh, you guys were ready at 8. He's like, "Well, normally there's like other stuff you have to do first." And we're like, "Yeah, we did that yesterday when you weren't fucking here." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll be here at 8 tomorrow. Like now that I know that, I'll be here at 8, on Wednesday." And then Wednesday, he wasn't there until like fucking 10. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I had food poisoning." I was like, "You had 2-hour food poisoning?" Mm-hmm.
Look, you had food poisoning, and you throw it up, all that alcohol that's poison.
And then say brown bottle flu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like we had the day on Thursday where they were like, "Hey, here's an awkward random like hour and a half lunch because we don't know what to do with you." At one point, like, they chased us out of the conference room we were in to go to another one because they're like, "Oh, no, there's another meeting that's supposed to be in this conference room." It's like, how long ago did you know that we were going to be here all week, like, doing this training? Like, you couldn't book a conference room for a week? Like, what the fuck? We got yelled at for, like...
Sounds like a great company.
We got yelled at. Well, so the problem is, like, so I actually really like my company. The problem is that the way we're partnered up with Kroger, Kroger's the fucking worst.
Oh, yeah.
Kroger sucks. As anybody in Colorado knows, because of their long drawn out fight with the King Supers Union. But yeah, like, so and they were constantly giving us like second citizen treatment at the company. Like, "Oh, well, this is Kroger's building, not Ocado. You guys just like work here. Like, you're just supporting Kroger. So like, if Kroger needs you to do something, you have to do something." Or like shit like that. And it was just like, dude, fuck off. Just fuck all the way off. And then, like, the outside contractor guy who did the safety training, was just kind of, like, he clearly knew some of his stuff, but then also, like, didn't know a lot of other stuff. He tried to pass off. There's a video. I don't remember what. It's some guy who does like skit comedy stuff on YouTube, like back in the before times. But it's a dude like on a scissor lift.
Burnham.
No, dude on a scissor lift with like a case of beer, and the cop like pulls him over and is like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And like the guy tried to pull it off like that was a real video. It was like, dude, the guy's website is like right there. Like, no, it's not. Just a bunch of other nonsense where he like things he knew well, but then there was a lot of things that he clearly didn't fucking know at all. And it's one of those where like when he didn't know something, like, and would still be very confident about like the wrong answer. And it's like, well, how often have you just been like the things that I thought you knew that I don't know, like that I just trusted you knew? How much have you been like confidently just wrong there too?
Yeah.
So kind of a little bit of a mess. Food was okay in the area. Went to the Universal Studios Boardwalk. Went to Toothsome Chocolate Emporium. That was pretty good. Had a big old ridiculous dessert thing down there. Yeah, not a whole lot else to talk about. One brewery in the town that I was in, I was in Claremont, technically. One brewery, really good. Sun Creek, I think it is. Really good. Loved them. Great beer, everything like that. Claremont Brewing Company, trash. Just fucking garbage. I shared a picture in the Slack channel and the booze channel on Slack of I ordered a West Coast IPA and it came out like super hazy and like really pale. And I was like, that doesn't look like any West Coast I've ever seen. So like I asked the server, I was like, hey, I don't think this is the West Coast. Could you just double check that there wasn't some kind of a mistake? And she was like, well, I got my, like, you could see I ordered it. And I was like, okay, yeah, could you, I don't mean to be a pain. When you have a second, could you just check with the bartender, make sure she didn't accidentally pour the wrong beer? Like, just mistakes happen. I just want to double check. So she went and came back and like, yeah, no, she says that's the right beer. She's, you know, like, we can give you a sample of the other beer if you want that. And I was like, I can give you a sample of the beer you ordered just so you can see that they're the same one. I was like, actually, could you give me a sample of the other beer so that I could have both of them? And she's like, yeah, actually, okay, that makes sense. And she brought me in, and it was even paler, even hazier, and even worse. So they did not mix up the New England IPA. They just basically had two New England IPAs and chose to call one of them a West Coast IPA.
One of them was a failed New England. And they're like, well, I guess we'll call it West Coast.
Oh my God, it was bad. They're like, yeah, nobody from the West Coast is ever here.
Yeah.
Nobody will know.
Nobody will know what an IPA is.
Yeah. They were a wood-fired pizza, slider, and sushi restaurant.
That means it was bad.
Yeah,
across the board.
Yep. They did actually have a nice wood-fired oven, but we didn't eat there.
Yeah. Probably for the best.
Yeah. Probably for the best.
What if I got a sushi wood-fired pizza?
But like as sliders. No. But that brewery we went to that had a wood-fired pizza.
Station 26 would be the brewery we were at.
Yeah. They had a food truck that was a pizza truck, and they were real good. I had a Thai chili chicken pizza that was very tasty.
It was.
What was the food truck?
Basic Needs.
Oh, yeah, they're real good. Yeah. Station 26, also real good.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why we went there.
Cool.
Because it's good.
Yeah, in your face.
You got me.
Yeah. We didn't go to shitty places. Like, the first thing that came to my mind was Black Sky. So.
I was going to say Factotum, but they're not around.
Yeah, they're not around anymore. Black Sky's got great food.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been there in so long, I don't know. Like, maybe their beer's gotten better?
I'm sure it's not.
Okay.
As my head shakes violently left and right.
Let's see. Super Bowl was this weekend. I assume you guys didn't even watch it.
No,
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I got home right before the halftime show, and then I watched from there.
Okay. I started watching about the end of the first quarter, and by watching I mean I played Dying Light with Megan while the Super Bowl was on in the same room as me. The halftime show was okay, I guess. Game itself wasn't that exciting.
Yeah, it seemed like a football game.
Yeah.
It was close.
I was vaguely rooting for the Rams, and they won because I was rooting for Von Miller. He transferred from the Broncos over there like halfway through the season.
Pretty sure he injured the other quarterback dude, so, he's got that going for him.
Yep. My friend back in Michigan is a big Lions fan, and he thought it was deeply ironic that Matt Stafford's first season ever playing for not the Lions, he wins a Super Bowl.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
He said that was basically that game last night was the closest as a Lions fan he'll ever get to winning the Super Bowl.
Great.
So,
Has Von Miller ever won a Super Bowl? He was with the Broncos when they won, right?
Wasn't he MVP?
he was.
Yeah.
He was MVP
I
in the year
feel
we won.
I heard the MVP choice for this Super Bowl was very unpopular.
I only know that because when they announced the MVP on like the show, like the crowd booed very loudly.
Yeah, it seemed like that was not the correct choice for MVP of that game.
But I also like the crowd at the
don't...
Super Bowl isn't exactly who I trust for knowing anything about football because it's so much of a status event. Like no everyday Joe football fan who follows football can go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like seats are thousands of dollars. Like it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boyd points out in chat, I did see somebody showing pictures of like in Detroit, they were selling Detroit Rams shirts that were like in all the Lions colors, but it was a Ram instead of a lion. It was great. The crowd was saying Coop. His name is Cooper. Sounds like a Boo Earns situation.
Yeah. In other TV watching news, I have watched all of What We Do in the Shadows.
Nice.
All 30 episodes. It helped that they were only like 20 something minute episodes.
You saw the movie too, right?
I have not seen the movie.
Gotta watch the movie, man.
Yeah.
The movie. I heard the movie has nothing to do with the actual TV series except kind of the story.
It's
same universe, shared universe.
Yeah.
But, and some of the characters that appear in the show were originally from the movie.
It didn't.
Not many though.
No, I know it's only a specific. It's only like a cameo thing. Like in the
never
end of,
seeing the movie, no one felt out of place if I needed to have known that they were from the movie.
No, the movie's just great because
it was basically the Vampire Council scene. That you were like,
was Brie Larson one of the Vampire Councils?
She 100% was.
Okay, it definitely felt like she was filmed on another day because she wasn't with anyone in any of her shots.
Feel like several of the Vampire Council felt that way.
Yeah, they were very much like, we need to get you here at some day, but we can always just edit it together.
I liked that they had like Wesley Snipes like Skype in.
Yes.
And it just would not work.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes needed to be there. Oh, and then whatever the dude from Blade, the actor from Blade, decided to become an actual vampire.
Yeah.
Oh
God, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, but like he was actually playing the actor.
Yeah,
as himself, but he is also a vampire now because he was like, "Yeah, let's just do it, man." Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows was very, very fun.
Oh, it's so good.
Yep.
Guillermo.
Yeah. Oh God.
De la Cruz.
Yes. Yeah. You will fear that name.
Yeah.
No, that's one that definitely. Like, I love the movie, and then I started the show, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty fun." But then, like near the end of the first season, you're like, "Okay, this is like it's being its own thing now. It's starting to be." And then it just each season it got better.
Yeah, because I think I started it, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't like a continuation of the movie at all. Like, it has nothing to do with it. Like, I'm not really invested. Like, I don't care." And like, I kind of tuned out, and then like way later, I picked it up again, and I was like, "Wait, how did I ever turn this off? This is amazing."
Yeah. I ended up with one of those $1 a month Hulu subscriptions with ads, but I have the right ad blocker on my PC, so I don't get any ads when I watch it on my computer.
Nice. Boyd, I started Murderville, and I have not enjoyed it.
I watched the Conan episode, and I thought the Conan episode was fucking awesome.
I heard the Marshawn Lynch, is that his name?
Yeah.
That is the next episode.
Yeah, I've heard that one was surprisingly good. But I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I did not finish even the Conan episode. It is clearly a show not for me.
I really like it because it's supposed to be all improv, and they don't bother to cut out the like breaks where they're like clearly someone's laughing or
well, it's improv, you got to show that stuff.
Yeah. There was clearly a cut where like it was Conan oh god, what was it? Conan's
did you say he actually like broke some of the actors?
Oh yes, multiple times, and it was like the part where he was at the the mothers against magic or whatever, the ma'am reference, and he's trying to play. He's trying to be undercover and makes up like his name or something like that, and he says what it is to the lady that's supposed to be acting, and she just laughs and turns away from the camera. It's Will Arnett in his earpiece trying to give him a fake name,
and he just keeps going on and on,
and he just keeps going about like Wilchestersenville burn or yeah. And then like the last one where he says field just breaks her, and yeah. And then there's a little girl in there that is like crazy talented for whatever her 7 or 8 year old age is, of her just going back and forth with Conan, like, and holding her own of like, what is death? And him having to explain to her what death is.
That was a good part.
And she's like, is this death? And he's like, yes. And he's explaining how the saw goes through muscle and bone and sinew. And she's like, when's the magic trick going to end? When's he going to put her back together? Yeah. And she was precious.
Nice. I mean, it's a cool premise for a show. So, and I guess it's based on a previous show from either Britain or Australia or something.
Of course it is. Yeah. There's nothing American original anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else.
It was Dianne Feinstein. That was what broke her. But he was trying to explain that he was bullied when he was a kid. And then they all grew up to be senators. And then she was like, well, who were they? And he was like, Dianne Feinstein. And then she had no more left in her.
I'm done. Thank you.
Yes.
That's good.
The head bully that beat him as a child.
No. I've just been I rewatched all of The Good Place because I was building. I got some new Lego sets that I was building. And,
okay.
There was the BMW like racing bike that took me 3 seasons and 2 episodes of the Good House
Holy
or Good
shit.
Good Place to Build.
And there's only like 4, right?
Yes. And so I finished the other one up while I was building a globe, and then started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine with it too. So
Nice.
Asia.
Yep.
I saw. Speaking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I saw. I don't remember. I brought a blank on both of their actor names.
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg and
Stephanie Beatrice?
no, whoever was his wife in the show.
Oh, yeah. Melissa
Fumero,
yeah.
They apparently won like best couple or something today. Like there was some like best TV couple or something,
Okay.
and they did a little like Instagram video of them together. And they were like, "Suck it," to like Chidi and what's her face from Good Place, and like
Kristen
a bunch of
Bell.
other. Yeah, I don't remember what her character's name is in that one. Like I can remember Kristen Bell's name because I'm currently watching her in The Woman Across the Street
from the girl in the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard that first episode. It was just constantly full of amazingly it's so blatantly parody that knowing that there are people who are not picking up that it's parody is.
I mean, I just can't understand somebody seeing that title and then being like, well, this sounds like like that kind of show.
I Googled something about it, and it was like people also search for, is the woman across the street from the girl in the window or whatever related to the girl in the window or whatever.
It's a sequel. Oh, okay.
But she does these things like there's a part where she's talking, mild spoilers for episode 1. She's talking to her kid and she's like, "Why won't you even answer me?" And the kid looks up and is like, "Because I'm dead." And Kristen Bell goes, "How do I keep forgetting that?"
Nice.
Amazing. And then her constantly having just the biggest wine glasses filled to the brim.
That sounds right.
But yeah, that's it for. I think that's a good spot for banter.
Sounds good,
especially because we got a decent amount of news in Kickstarter.
I'm sure I got nothing to talk about over the last 8 weeks, but that's fine.
Do you? Go ahead.
No one cares. No one cares. No one cares.
You hadn't jumped in with anything. I had to.
I mean, he jumped in with what we do in the shadows.
Yeah,
that's
it. That's all you had to contribute.
That's literally all that's happened.
What else, Jeff? You haven't been here in a while.
No, it's been about it that I want to talk about.
Okay, that's what I figured. I'll put you on on the spot for
He wanted to say that he didn't want to talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's what I wanted.
All right.
I was going to say no, but I
Dying
wanted you
Light
to ask.
2 has been played.
Is it fun?
Nah.
Did you like Dying Light 1?
I did.
Okay.
Dying Light 2 takes too long. I'm like 16 hours in just trying to fucking mainline main missions, and I'm still like unlocking shit. Like, it's like, oh, cool. Once you get to the second area, then you've kind of unlocked everything. Except there's still like two more, like, you get like a parachute glider thing, but apparently there's like a grappling hook you get at some point as well, and something else.
I just got to where I get the grappling hook in Dying Light 1, and I forgot, like, because I'd gotten there before, and then I just got back there because we started again in prep for Dying Light 2. And I forgot how much fun the grappling hook is in Dying Light 1.
All I know is that in Dying Light 2, you can jump off a skyscraper, and as long as you land on a car, you're fine.
That's true in Dying Light 1.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
I watched a GIF of somebody do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cars,
I'll try
trash
that.
cans, like big trash dumpsters.
Okay.
you
I
know.
know there's random mattresses with big blue X's.
Also safe to land on,
Yes.
Yeah.
no matter how high.
You know what? The first area's heights aren't that high.
Gotcha.
so-
Yeah.
It's like Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed. You can jump off of crazy high things in almost every Assassin's Creed game.
Oh,
and
yeah. We did.
Yeah, Jeff told the guy, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
wait, what?
Um.
Oh.
So Saturday, but Saturday.
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 The previous week, I had been like, "Hey, Pliny the Younger is coming to Denver. Hops and Pie will have it first. We should maybe do this." And then it was very much of Anthony saying, "It's totally not worth the wait because it's just a fine triple IPA."
Sure.
Which it is definitely just a very fine triple IPA. But I got there early enough to get the like second to last table in the place. I had to fight a mom for it because I had gotten up to go see the line, and then I came back and she was sitting down at the table, and I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of fucking sitting here. My shit's all over the table." And then she was like, "Well, you weren't," and I was like, "Yeah, do you know why there's 1,000 people here 45 minutes before the place is opening?" And then she wanted to bring in like 3 couples and like 8 kids for like, and it's like, we're going to need like a table for 10 and then like 4 booster seats. And the waitress was like, no, there's no way we can do that.
Yeah.
There's like no way.
You should have just looked her dead in the eyes, like, "Do you know what SIDS is?" Just, and then just.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my God.
You're not saying anything.
We're going to get banned.
Just as a question. Just
Holy
as a question.
fuck. God.
You need to watch out for it. Is what
So
I'm saying.
I fought her off the table.
Yeah.
And then Wes showed up, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go get in line for beer." And then it was like 35 minutes after like Paul had showed up, Zach, who I didn't even know was fucking coming, because even though he said he was coming, I thought it was Wes that said he was coming.
I said sounds good when they were making plans, and then I was like 12 minutes out.
And in my brain, all of those
Very
were-
conclusive.
were- yes, no, I was in the wrong on top of everything. But I got a big enough table for all of us, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But I did not get him a beer while I was waiting 35 minutes for not for the younger beer, but for just beers for the table, because we didn't have table service yet, because they hadn't even been, they'd open at noon. They opened at noon. This was like 11:15 I got there. So I was waiting in line forever. Let's say, and because eternity equals 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Indistinguishable.
So this dude just kind of like wandered up and then was kind of wandering by the bar, and then he ended up getting in the beer line. I didn't care. And then like I ended up chatting with the guy next to me because he ended up being like an ultimate Frisbee friend of one of the old brewers at Avery, and I had an Avery shirt on. And the guy, Andy Parker, who I've mentioned before, he had been there for like 18 years, 16 years, something like that. So we were just chit-chatting. And then I was just standing still in line because the line wasn't moving. And then I looked to my left, and it was just that fucking guy standing in front of me, just staring at the beer ordering sign. And I was like, "Hey, are you going to move up? We're ordering at the register for beer." And he's like, "No, I'm just here for the Pliny the Younger release." And I was like, "Well, get out of the fucking way. We're in line to get beers." And he's like, "Well, there's plenty of room. Just go around." And there was If you've been to Hops and Pie,
There's not room.
The bar was full. All the tables were full. There was not a person width there. And I was like, fuck you, and just went by him. And I made eye contact with the lady at the register, and she was like, yeah. And she's like, you work at Adrian? I was like, yeah. She's like, I'm going to put a little discount on here.
Did she, though?
She didn't. She definitely put it on there, but I don't think it made it to the handheld that was at the table that we were at, or that
the not great one.
Because she asked what table I was at. And I was like, I'm at the table across from like the kitchen window, and she's like, cool, got it. And I don't think she put the
somebody else got your discount.
Someone else probably got my fucking discount.
Somebody else was like, why did I get an employee discount? This is great.
It'd be great if like it was somehow the guy. No, the guy.
And he was just totally in the way. He was just standing behind the bar thinking that's how he got Pliny the Younger, by hovering around the fucking bar, which is not how it was going to work. No. But they also didn't. Pliny the Younger is an extremely hyped, rare beer that comes from Russian River. It is not worth the hype to be waiting in line. If we had gotten there any later and not gotten a table, it would have not been worth waiting in the line. There were dozens upon dozens of people waiting in the line for way too long. But we got there early, got a table, we had lunch. It was nice. We got the beer served to our table. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the name of the place is. There's a pizza joint in downtown, like Old Town Arvada.
Highland,
something in
Tap and Dough, homegrown Tap and Dough.
Yeah. A couple of years back, Megan and I, before the pandemic, lucked into I happened to see they're doing a Pliny release. Let's swing by, and
they're getting that again this year too.
There was no one. It was dead. I got a table. We got pizza. I think I got 2 Plinies, and they were reasonably priced. They weren't through the fucking roof.
Ours were $10, 10 ounces. I mean, $1 an ounce. That was about what I was expecting. I was expecting 8 ounce $10. So
yeah, but it was one of those. I was like, holy shit, this is if this was what every Pliny release was like, I'd be down for more Pliny. But
younger, Pliny
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about coming, and then I had a bunch of issues with my flight coming back from Florida, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah, it was a beer release that if you did not get the perfect seating, and it was also the first Denver Pliny the Younger release of this year.
So that's there
will be more later.
Yeah,
at a bunch of weird eclectic locations.
Thin Man.
Yeah,
the Thin Man, which I think was historically a gay bar.
Oh,
I believe. At least that's what I remember Anthony telling me at one point or another.
I did not know that about Thin Man.
I think.
Maybe at one point, yeah.
But also,
and then the Straits ruined it.
Probably, yes, absolutely.
As we do everything.
Yes, correct. But that's a weird place for Pliny the Younger.
It
Fire
is.
on the Mountains locations will be getting Pliny the Younger.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so yeah, that guy was fuck that guy, but
fuck that
otherwise, it was fine. It was fun. It was a good time.
Nice. All right. Shall we do news and Kickstarters? We got something to move through, especially because it's actually a jam-packed episode. All right.
First up in news, Ravensburger has thought about this whole Gamesfound thing and been like, we want a piece of that.
A big piece.
Yeah. So they are investing $4.5 million into Gamesfound,
which is currently who's that company that has used it a lot recently? The ones that did this War of Mine.
Oh yeah. Shit, I'm drawing a blank too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Supposedly, and I had not heard this. Euromonitor International estimates Ravensburger to be the second largest games and puzzles company in the world. Behind,
I could see that. Yeah.
Hasbro.
It was Awaken Realms.
Is it Awaken Realms?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think of what the board game publisher was versus the video game publisher, which 11-bit Studios I think is the video game.
Gotcha.
publisher.
Yeah. And Awaken Realms apparently launched.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they launched Gamesfound. But yeah, according to Awaken Realms, it's raised more than $22 million in total to date. Things like Skyrim, ISS Vanguard, and Too Many Bones, things like that.
They also use it as a game, manager.
Yes,
sort of thing.
Fulfillment.
Pledge manager. Thank you. But they do have some Kickstarter-esque things going on too. So
yeah. So Big investment for sure, which is interesting also because Ravensburger, according to this article at least, has not actually ever done any crowdfunding.
I don't know. No, they just kind of release things.
Which, I mean, if they're the second biggest in the world, I mean, it's like, you don't see Wizards of the Coast crowdfunding the latest D&D books, but maybe they're looking just to broaden their investment portfolio or
maybe.
Something.
The ISS Vanguard raised $4.9 million.
Lots of money.
Yeah.
I remember looking at it, I'm like, this is cool, but I don't want to spend all this money for another one of their games that I haven't played.
Which
right.
the Great Wall, I believe,
the
is
Great
the
Wall
last one that
and
you've...
Tainted Grail, both of them, one stacked on top of each other, on the other. So
have you sorted them, punched them, done anything with them?
I think I may have done that with Tainted Grail. The other one is still in wrapping, the shrink.
Nice.
Great.
Impulse buys. They're the best.
At least it was
it was like 2.5 years, something like that.
Yeah, and at least it was the
single pledge shipping.
Well, and yes, but the Meeple one versus the mini one.
Oh, okay.
And apparently the Meeple one came with a shitload of stickers, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to put those on there.
We were talking about that, the stickering recently.
As someone that recently picked up the Downfall Deluxe Edition for $25.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Clearance TMG sales. Am I right? All of the cardboard pieces are wood pieces, but you have to sticker all of them.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a lot for what is that? 6 different player colors?
Yeah.
I didn't get it from TMG, but speaking of TMG going out of business shit, I got New and Shrink Scoville for MSRP at
nice.
Black and Red.
Ooh.
Pretty excited about that.
Great. I haven't played it. So
Hot pepper game. I haven't either. I've heard really good things.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing with news.
Yeah. Have you heard of Uno? But what if Uno was even more fucking horse shit than it already was?
Yep. So this is mostly just filed under news that is so ridiculous we had to tell other people about it.
And also sort of a
Everyone
warning.
must know.
This is a warning of hey, do you want to play Uno? I got this fancy one. No.
Oops, all wilds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, is oops even part of the name? It's just
no,
Uno
it is
all
not.
It should be, because then at least it would be a meta pun on the marshmallow
Captain Crunch.
cereals. Yeah. No, it's just Uno All Wilds. And it is exactly what it sounds like. No cards that are color or number based. All of them have the black border, which mean they're wild. And there are basically the skip, reverse, draw 2, wild, draw 4. And then wild, draw 2 and draw 4 are roughly the exact same card at this point, because there's no difference really.
It's
they do add some new cards. There's targeted draw 2, which you can see on top of the discard pile in the image, so you can kind of see the thing. But that lets you just pick somebody else at the table to draw 2 cards, but they don't lose their turn. And then there's a swap hands card, so you can just get a big hand and then just, here, you have my hand now. Yeah. They've added a double skip, which skips the next 2 players.
So question, if you're playing with 2 players, is it I skip you and then I skip me and then it goes to you?
No. Oh, yeah. They explain it here where it's just if it does that, it's just go again.
Okay, it's just a single
with
skip.
2 players,
Gotcha.
though, the effect would be nothing, which brings us to the basic wild card, which is the majority of the deck. But you don't need to pick a color because everybody's hand is just entirely wild. So,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Fuck it. Uno all wilds. What else are we going to do with this fucking game?
Yep.
So, dumb, but interestingly dumb. I don't know who greenlit that.
No idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, what does it cost us? $10 to make this new version? Maybe they just had a bunch of wilds cards sitting in back, and they're like, what are we going to do with all these wild punch cards? Yeah, just make a fucking game out of all of them.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's all there was. $1 million idea. Fuck Wordle, right? Oops, all wilds. Sell that to the New York Times.
Unlikely. Last up on news.
Tsuro's getting a holy fuck expensive, but also super cool $350 edition.
Yeah. So this is a limited edition version of Tsuro. Stone tiles, a bamboo rules scroll, and a gold dragon statue. So it is just a super fancy premium edition of Tsuro. It upgrades the 35 cardboard tiles to textured stone tiles carved with the crisscrossing paths. It's going to have an embroidered satin bag. So you pull your tiles from the bag, instead of like dealing them out like you do in the base game. I'm not sure how that'll really drastically affect things. I mean, normally you have a hand of 3, so you at least have some like strategy in what you play. Drawing from a bag will kind of mess with that a bit, but I suppose there's no reason you couldn't also just deal out the stone tiles.
It seems this is very much about to happen, but it doesn't look like they really had any of the tiles ready for the announcement. You can only go to their website and put your email in, and that's the only way. Once sign up to be notified of developments and how and when you can get your own numbered copy.
Yeah.
And that's it. It feels a lot like hey, sign up for this so we know how many
people are interested in it.
And if there's not enough, we just might never make it happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll make a few of them happen. They've got enough pre-production pictures of things that I think they'll make it happen.
Yeah. Remember when everything was getting a giant edition?
Oh, yes. That was very popular.
It's been a while since that's been a thing. Azul Sagrada? Was Sagrada ever? I think it was maybe just a convention only thing.
Pandemic? Don't know who would have done something like that.
One of a kind. Is it back there? Is it over there?
No, I think I gave most of it back to Anthony.
It's fine. It's finally back. Okay.
Most of it's back to Anthony.
It's after he was able to own a house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Tsuro limited edition. Go sign up if you want to get a copy of that, or get on a mailing list to maybe get a copy of that
someday. Yeah.
Moves us on to Kickstarters.
First up in Kickstarter, we have Rolling Heights. Pretty well funded, $102,000 of its $10,000 goal, just over 1,800 backers, but only less than a week left to pledge this one for its one and only pledge of $59.
Indeed. Jeff, you said you read through these, so I'm just going to let you run through this Kickstarter session this time. Welcome back to the show.
So Rolling Heights is from a John D. Clare of Edge of Darkness fame, which is his absolute most famous game, and definitely the best, and not the worst. Mystic Vale guy. What was the other one?
Those are the two I know.
Okay, cool. So this is a city building meeple rolling game. So each player will have a little box, and then they will have workers of 9 different colors, and you will roll the little meeples like dice into the box. And then each of the meeples is 9 different colors, and each of those colors is a different material of the construction, universe.
Sure.
So it's like wood, concrete, glass. There's a nice listing. Architects, riveters, executives, public figures, city planners, and public servants. So as you roll them, I went in depth on the rules here because I was like, rolling meeples, that sounds like a bullshit mechanic. Because how are you supposed to tell what the fuck the roll is? It's basically if they're on the meeple feet, they're a hard worker. If they are upright and on their side in any way, they are just working. And if they are flat, they are exhausted. It is also a push your luck mechanic, so you can kind of take out the workers and hard workers, and you can push your luck to keep rolling. But if you roll and push your luck and they all come up flat, then you bust and bad things happen. And then there are mechanics that let you like re-roll without having to bust and all that kind of stuff. But you're just taking all of these things and it's like, oh, what's a worker versus hard worker? Well, the brown worker is like the wood worker. And if it's working, you get 1 of that resources. If it's hard working, you get 2 of that resource. It's just kind of that mechanic. So there's not a whole lot of complexity there. It's working steady and working hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's basically just one of that resource or two of that resource. Some of the rarer meeples will get you like a victory point or 2 victory points. And then there's like a whole, like, you're building buildings, and each one of these resources is a cube that will stack. So you will end up having these buildings of like 6 to 8 of these cubes stacked, but they're kind of like a little bit Lego, where they'll like clip into each other, so they're not just a loose, flimsy stack of nightmare that will immediately fall over. But you're on a big island map where you're putting all these buildings, and depending on your player count, it will expand out because it's all kind of one board. Depending on your player count is how many of those sections you'll use. There's a lot of water on the map, which is kind of like, why do you have so much water on this map? Because it's like useless space for most of the game. But you have like an ownership tile that like because you are getting that building tile and then building that tile, that building will be yours. When you complete it, you put your color on there to note that you have gotten it. When you finish the building, you'll get victory points, and then one of the like special dudes, if you use a bunch of wilds to get it, you'll get a hard worker versus a steady worker or something like that. But basically, you roll a bunch of meeples, you get resources, you build buildings, you get victory points, and then you, play the game until it's over.
Sure.
Which is when all cubes of one or more colors have been constructed in buildings on the board, game end is triggered.
Okay. I guess that seems not totally unreasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking for something total horseshit of like, I'm going to roll all these meeples, and just the way that they've land on their right or their left is some super complicated rule of adding them all together, and it's sort of just like...
Which meeples landed on the bed, which ones landed in the chair sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the images on there made me think it was going to be something like that.
No, it is very much it's standing, you get 2. If it's over on its side, you get 1, and if it's flat, you get nothing, but you can re-roll them and push your luck.
Gotcha.
So there is a push your luck mechanic. It seemed better laid out than I was expecting from Mr. D. Clare these days. But for a $59 price point, it's not the worst thing I've seen, and it's less complicated than I was.
And it's a unique thing. So
yeah,
looks like for cubes like running out being an endgame trigger, there are 80 of the clear cubes. 60 of navy, brown, and
also
blue.
It lays out every single cube that you have in the game on
the Kickstarter.
The components Kickstarter. It's like, we're going to show you literally everything.
And there's only 25 orange cubes. So I assume that like 80, 60, 25 relates to the rarity of like getting to build one of them, but should give you an idea of like roughly how many cubes there are of given color.
And those
build.
orange cubes are power cubes, which can be used kind of as they're like a special, more powerful cube. So
gotcha.
There's also a 3 to 5 minute bonus mini game being included in all Kickstarter pledges, where one player takes the role of the beast trying to destroy the city by knocking over the buildings. So
it comes with a neat little King Kong
meeple, yeah.
The one thing I noticed in the rulebook is there's like a lot of little edge cases in here of like, oh, what if the meeple is... They do distinctly say, hey, what if it's like cocked and the meeple is not clearly standing up, falling down, or on its side? It's like, just re-roll them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reasonable thing. I like the way the cubes like seem to like lock together to make the buildings, though. That's pretty cool.
Yes, yeah. I was like, it's like it attaches to make it not a nightmare to want to actually try and build any of this stuff.
It makes general contractors seem far too good, though. In my experience, general contractors are all the absolute fucking worst.
Worse than politicians?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Probably. There are no general contractors.
Imagine if politicians had a general sense of superiority over doing blue-collar work.
Great.
Then otherwise exactly the same. Corrupt, full of shit, lie to your face multiple times over, rip you off every chance they get. I've never worked on any job site ever anywhere with a general contractor that I did not immediately despise.
Okay. But yeah, there's 9 different meeples. There's a bunch of different resources, and you use all those to, make a tower of meeples and stuff. I think it looks pretty good on the board.
there's a lot I do like here. I like the little roll boxes that are like a little building.
Yeah.
That's cool.
At one point it was like, if you're worried about re-rolling and knocking over your dudes, just take them out and set them to the side and then re-roll your dudes, or borrow a other player's box. And it was like, okay, you're making a little too many edge cases here in your rules for what really comes to mind, but
what happens if you spill a full glass of water in this thing? What happens if you fill half a glass of water?
What if you fill a half empty glass of water?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no way to know.
Mm.
But yeah, Rolling Heights, it's been AAG's kind of like big promoted hype thing, and
Sure.
it was funded in 18 minutes.
Art by Quanchi Maria.
Yeah, absolutely. Good art. $60, no real additional anything on top of that. So it seemed,
Cool.
A little less than its usual hundreds of dollars pledge level nightmares that has come and gone over the years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Iron Forest. Very well funded. 132,000 of its $65,000 goal, over 1,500 backers, about 2 weeks left to pledge this one. Hey, you can get this for $85 goddamn dollars.
That's it.
But hey, did you know, did you like Ice Cool? But what if it was like competitive, but with like team on team mechs versus woodland critters? And then let's put 2 tiers of Ice Cool. But how do you get to the second tier? A fucking catapult launches you to the top.
Yeah. So I remember talking about this, I think, in news, not
A while ago, yeah.
not terribly, like November, December-ish, a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like talking about like the catapults and how that would actually work. And so now we have a Kickstarter that sheds a little light.
Boy, are there a lot of 3D modeling on this Kickstarter with no actual
bits and pieces.
Yeah. It's like, is the catapult gonna work? It just looks like
Look, that looks like 100% realistic. I don't know what you're talking
there's
about.
no way.
It also has a full-on comic explaining the lore.
Yes. So it's teams like robots versus team critters, but the robots are robots and the critters have made mechs. So there's a bunch of different scenarios where you're using your different mech teams to try and like
do whatever.
The scenario cards will have objectives. A lot of them are just like putting the specific colors that you need to go under specific doors, and then specific players have to go under those specific ones. At least in the base scenario, it's like, and then you have to remove 4 out of the 5 to win, and then the other team has to remove 4. It's basically one team has to KO the others, and then the other team has to get through the doors. That's kind of, and then each mech has like a certain amount of like power cards. So there's like unique abilities that each of the mechs get. There's like equipment. You're not collecting fish. You're equipping shockers, rocket jumps, autopilots, and things like that. There's a bunch of D20s in this game that I'm sure are used for something, but nothing was clearly explained. Also, the D20s they have on the components page do not look like D20s. They look like fucking garbage. The D20s are like weirdly, I don't know, almost like D12s. I don't know. They look bad. They look like not D20s because they're just 3D representations, but they look bad. They look bad. I don't know. They look wrong. They look like wrong D20s.
It's just because it's like flat lighting, so the angles don't look right.
They don't look right. They're D20s that don't look right.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of stretch goals for more scenarios and shit. But it's more Ice Cool, and it's on 2 tiers, and it's competitive. And if you want that for $85, you too can do that.
There you go.
You can get an extra catapult for $10 or the other games.
I don't follow nearly as much of like especially the reviewer side of the industry anymore. So I don't recognize some of the names on these Kickstarters anymore.
Nor do I.
Which is fine. But it shocks me when I look at this game and I say, okay, it's Ice Cool version 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reviewer,
Besides 2.
besides 2.
Yeah.
This reviewer says, this is nothing like what I've seen before. The game makes you look at it, and it makes you want to know more about it.
I mean, I can see that. It's more of like a competitive thing where it's not just everyone's doing the same thing and the other one's trying to just hit them. It's like, what if there are 4 people trying to hit you and you are 4 people?
But, like, never seen anything like it.
No,
Like,
yes.
I've never seen a box stacked on top of another box. You've had a catapult stuff too? Mm-mm.
Yes. Another reviewer here uses the term flicking fun. I think only twice, but it feels like too much in one review.
Yes.
Anyway.
Iron Forest.
Iron Forest.
It's ice cool, but two levels of ice cool.
Ice cool squared.
I want to see the catapults in action.
Yeah.
You did. There is an accurate representation of physics.
No.
Yeah.
Of
No.
yes.
No. Distinctly not.
Look, pretty sure Pixar made that. You know that Pixar that was like trying to demo Toy Story. That Pixar.
Here you go. This is what you get for a catapult.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a catapult that shoots mines at some point. I don't know. There's a bunch of stretch goals.
Yep.
But anyways, whatever. It looks okay.
I don't know.
I don't know if I would
it's-
pay $85.
I'm
for
sure one of the launchers is one of the mini video
Yeah.
reviews attached to the Kickstarter.
I would want to see it on the board, and then I'd be interested in learning more.
it. Yes. Last up on Kickstarter, we have Unfair expansion again. Very well funded, 155,000 of its 42,000 goal. Over 2,700 backers that care about Unfair still. Only about a week left to go to pledge this one, which you can for $40, which is just for the new stuff. Unfair is a theme park creation board game that is card-based, and they are going to be adding 4 new, themes.
Yeah.
Also a solo mode.
New factions, basically.
Yeah. New things you can draft from.
Yep.
Comic book, but like one word comic book, not two. It's not comic book.
It was like
comic
Alien, B-movie, dinosaur, western. Now it's comic book, hacker, kaiju, ocean.
Yes. So
Hacker themed. What does hacker themed really mean?
I feel like if they're trying to say like cyberpunk, but not say
Not
cyberpunk.
use the word cyberpunk.
that's about the only thing that makes sense. Even ocean themed is like, at first I was like, the fuck is an ocean theme? And it's like, okay, your theme park is more of like beach relaxing resort than like theme park. But yeah, so Unfair, man, I am shocked that there's an expansion coming out for this and that it is so well funded. Because we played Unfair and liked it a lot initially. We played the expansion a bit.
There was a whole horror story of all the cards were cut wrong and also were sleeved. You couldn't even play
Tons
with
of
them.
issues.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't heard anything. I don't remember the last time anybody even mentioned Unfair until today, I think it was. Paul was like, hey, I'm back in the Unfair expansion. And then
It's
it was like, oh, there's an Unfair expansion. Let's throw it on news and
did you know that
Kickstarter.
there was a spin-off game called Fun Fair?
I do vaguely remember
Okay.
that was like a friendlier version.
Yes.
I do
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
remember that at all.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember only because I heard about it and I went, well, then what's the fucking point?
Exactly.
Like, because the one attraction to Unfair was how mean it was.
And it can get fucking mean. So
So basic rules and things still staying the same in the expansion. It's just adding more themes. You're still building a theme park. At the start of the game, like, part of the setup is choosing, like, I think 4 themes to mix together. So this is just more that you can mix in.
because the base one had 6, and then the first expansion added 4, so this adds 4 more.
Yeah,
so.
and there's still, as I recall, in the base game slots for like 24. So we still got plenty of room to go in that base box before they need to do a big box edition.
I just like the kaiju one, and I also really love the card that is the guest reassurance pylon, which is just a missile tower that is supposed to defend the theme park from kaiju.
Nice.
So yeah, they just add more cards that are vaguely tied to a theme that kind of link together. New blueprints, which are like your goals you can do during the game to score points. Sponsorships, which are like a whole section of like each round you can play those to get different effects and things. They have these little game changers, and I'm not sure. I think those maybe were in that first expansion, but I didn't play enough to really remember them.
Game changers were in all of them. Like, it was in the base game too, but yeah.
But it just like changes a little bit. But I
It changes
like
the game, yeah.
I like
But the players are the same.
the rule set. But I like that one of these is leisure suits, and it's like a bunch of people at the theme park in full-on hazmat suits that they're calling leisure suits.
How else are you supposed to leisurely walk around Kaiju Land?
And it shows it's like star totals go up +2 for each park, but max number of guests goes down -2. So some of those kinds of things are interesting.
Nature Week is our annual reminder that nature is actually there all the other weeks too.
They all had good flavor from what I remember.
Yes.
They have great flavor. They have good like artwork, and then a lot of them like do tie together. Like they have a lot of things that like if you build them in the right order and everything, they match up and make like a kind of like a panorama view, a triptych, if you will, of art. This also adds a solo mode. No idea how that actually plays out.
Looks like there's a weird AI.
Yeah. So they're calling it, at least in some places, CHKO, which is an interesting, like, comic book hacker kaiju ocean. CHKO.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Letters.
Chico. See, I don't know. The hacker, like, nothing looks super.
It looks to me like it's one of those ones, if you
Cyberpunk-y.
just want more. If you're like, I've played a lot of the other themes a lot, and I'm you like, yeah.
It looks like it's, I don't know, VR Pod's coffee shop. It doesn't seem nearly as cyberpunky as I was expecting. Kaiju is definitely a bunch of weird monsters smashing cities, so that's perfect.
I can only assume the leisure suits are a COVID reference.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I assumed.
Yeah. +2 star total to each park, -2
The flavor
guest
text.
capacity.
Yeah.
It's a welcome excursion, even in such bulky suits. And this way, only their laughter is infectious.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a whole extra like card scoring flow chart thing. I don't know. A thing that you can call not an automa because, I don't know, why not?
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, and you can just get the shit print and play, apparently.
Yeah. Do your own cutting of the pieces. I'm sure it'll be better.
Make sure they come out right.
Yeah.
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Nope.
Well, it's fun that they'll just be like, fucking, I don't know,
Yeah.
don't back our shit, just print and play it yourself. Fuck you, don't give us $40. Then we don't have to ship it.
It
Pretty much.
saves money in the long run.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. New Unfair expansion. Paul backed it. So, whenever he gets his, maybe we'll play Unfair again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that pretty much wraps up everything from news and Kickstarter for this week, I think.
That's it.
All right.
We're all done here.
Indeed. No listener feedback this week.
Nope.
Correct.
None. Even though all that time off, nobody thought they could send us an email.
Well, there was
Boyd-
no content to send us
Boyd-
something about?
Boyd joked about sending it, romantic questions since we're recording on Valentine's Day. He failed.
Yeah.
He just came in and talked to us for a bit, so
Yeah.
We really
maybe
felt
that's
the love.
romance for Boyd. Who knows?
Talking.
Talking.
The ultimate romance.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that wraps up the episode.
Yes.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
Our website has not existed for a while, milehighgameguys.com.
Mhm.
Nor will where we were posting.
We had
them.
been using punchboardmedia.com, but Punchboard Media is sunsetting at the end of the month of May. So we will be resorting out website situations in the very near future.
Don't use Wix. Don't use
No,
Wix.
definitely not going to use Wix. Definitely not going to use Wix. There's a few people in Punchboard that are talking about still maintaining some type of like group website. We'll see where that goes. Otherwise, we'll just throw a little bit of money at Squarespace or something.
Sure.
Get a very basic website backup. I don't know.
There's no way to know.
Time will tell. Stay tuned.
Now
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But for now, you can still go to punchboardmedia.com and search for Mile High Game Guys to find links to the Kickstarters we talk about, the news items we talk about.
Facebook will have all of our episode posts.
Yeah, but I don't know if it has the actual like text portion of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
With the links.
Yeah, it's not
The links are the important part.
I mean, that's built that like you can get that from your phone, your podcast thing. You can
your podcast reader. True.
Yeah, you can just click those too.
True. Podcast reader of choice.
Yep. As long as it's Spotify, I guess. It's our big
They're
supporters.
Podcast Republic.
Our big.
I found a thing the other day where you could look at like all the places yours was listed, and like our Spotify is nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely mostly like I think iTunes were a big one still, and then there was one other weird one, and then it was Podcast Republic was like third. Anyway, yes, your podcast reader app should also include show notes with links and timestamps and things like that. Most importantly, link to the Slack channel. Come join the Slack channel. If you haven't already, we've been pushing it for years. It's definitely the place to like mostly follow our shenanigans, as we've abandoned most other forms of social media.
Prime shenanigans.
Yeah, you can join us daily for Wordle stuff.
We do have a daily Wordle thread in our random. At this point, we almost need a Wordle channel.
No, I mean it's
it works well as a random. I agree.
Thread it.
Yeah, it's threaded.
Thread. It is threaded, so you know to not click on it until you've solved your Wordle.
Yeah.
Yep.
It does spoil me though, because like spoiled in like
I'll tell you what's annoying is that when you were there in Florida
and I was beating everyone to it.
Yeah, you're posting it to your and I was like, it's 10. Get out of here, fucker.
Oh, that was great. That extra 2 hours. But I've gotten used to the thread being like a safe place to just post anything about it because like anybody who's there went there willingly and it should be free.
Yep.
And it definitely contributed to me spoiling Megan like 3 days ago. Like I sent her my brother and I like were talking and he had sent his. He made a little story out of his like 4 words about like that I was feeling this way and then this and then this and then boom, I got it. And I thought it was funny, and so I sent it to Megan, and she goes, "I haven't done mine yet, you dick." Ooh, my bad. On the other hand, at least you get another +1 on your stats. So, and then she pointed out that she really should have just ignored it, like not done her Wordle until the end of the day, because she was like, "I definitely forgot whatever you sent me," so it would have been fine.
Nice,
but yeah. So join the Slack, and if you can't find the show notes or links or anything like that, then Twitter or email and we'll just send you the link. But definitely come join Slack. Other than that, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. You can come join in all the chat like we had at the beginning of this episode with Boyd and Matt and David. And I think that was it. I think I only saw those 3 guys.
Sounds right, yeah. I mean, it's Valentine's Day.
But other people can also join in. Occasionally. So, but that's everything. So, thanks for listening. It's always a pleasure rambling into a microphone. Oh, Terry B. Crafty wants to know, is anybody going to Dice Tower West?
No,
not us. I saw some people, but no, I don't think anybody in Slack is.
We had some people go on the Dice Tower cruise from our game group, the local game group, but I haven't talked to them since.
Because they do every year.
Yeah.
My next convention will hopefully be Geekway.
Mile High Cabin Con.
Geekway, and then Mile High.
Definitely be Cabin Con. But I'm going to count it because it needs to
correct.
grow into its thing.
Technically correct.
And then I don't know. Those will probably be my only 2 this year. I'm starting to tentatively try and plan LierriaCon, Portugal in 2023 again, because that was a bunch of fun and it's been like 5 years since I went.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Also, Ofer says, Happy Valentine's Day to Zach and Jeff. And on
Happy
that
Valentine's Day to you as well.
Woo.
On that note, I'm now heartbroken that I was excluded, and I'm going to end the episode.
So we're like sumo watchers?
Yeah.
So
I watched sumo twice, and neither time did I ever get acknowledged.
Did you say hi?
I did. Well, the first time I said hi. The second time I just lurked.
Look, you forgot to include you. There you go.
Yeah.
It's an honest mistake.
We watched 15 goddamn days of sumo, all right?
Yeah.
I don't think it was a mistake. It feels intentional. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening in. We're glad to be back in the studio. Glad to be doing the whole shebang again.
Wow.
Wow.
Next week I'm going to be in Dallas, so there might not be an episode
God damn
next
it.
week.
God damn it. We tried, everyone.
We tried.
We tried.
But 2 weeks from there, we'll definitely be back. So, yeah, that's everything for this week. Bye.
Bye.
And I'm...
Oh, I'm your host. God damn it. See?
Yeah.
This is how long it's been. This is
Yeah.
how long it's been.
I was just going to let him do it. You
were. Because that would have cut moments off the episode.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
And I'm still Zach.
And I'm Hockey Jeff.
Boy.
Bye.
Bye.